home, away from home, for you who are within the African diaspora. Listen, we've got an interesting show coming up for you today. However, let me send a special thanks to Tsepiso Makwetla and the team on Africa World Hour for such an informative show. Catch them again tomorrow between 9 and 10 p.m. I know that right now you could be a little bit puzzled by the voice that you're hearing behind the mic. It's not your usual Shayla Ndukumana's voice. However, I am her producer, and she has given me the responsibility of holding the fort down for her for today. And so today it is a Monday, the 3rd of November. We're starting a new month, a new week. And just in case you did not know, we are in the second last month of the year 2025. Not that things will get difficult, but for sure things are meant to get a little bit easier, I do hope. So let me quickly fill you in on what you can catch up on today. Well, we're getting into very interesting conversations today. On Monday, we like to focus on anything related to self-love or love for your community. We kickstart the show with a feel-good story. Let me give you the background on this one. Now, in a large study of 74,901 respondents from economically disadvantaged districts in South Africa, the prevalence of self-reported vision difficulty was 11.2%. Among school-going children, lower levels of education were associated with higher self-reported vision difficulty. This means that the issue is about cost, distance, and the fact that many people don't know they can or should get an eye exam. Now, today we will be learning about a philanthropic initiative by Glencoe Cole to combat this problem. And of course, in the second hour of the show, our conversation will be around building boundaries as a form of self-love. Now, in psychology and personal development, boundaries are limits you set to protect your emotions, physical and mental well-being. Now, in African culture, Ubuntu is a foundational African philosophy that emphasizes interconnectedness, community sharing, and mutual care. Now, as an African child, what happens when you want to prioritize your mental health over communal obligation? What happens? And why is it that it's a problem when an individual seeks privacy or solitude in a culture that values togetherness? Now, we will be unpacking this, the conflict between personal boundaries and the Ubuntu culture, with a Pan-Africanist, a storyteller, thespian, and director, Neo M. Matsunyani. As you can hear, it's going to be quite an interesting show, so you better stick around so you don't miss out on anything. My name is Nolo Matlaila. I will be holding the fort down for Shayla Ndukumana for the next 2 hours. This is African Diaries.
Africa Speaks on African Diaries with Shayla Ndukumana. Tebogo and Mateko from the upside.
Je, una jambo lolote akilini mwako? Je, una shauku kuhusu maswala muhimu? Na je, una maoni ambayo unataka yasikike? Kweli, hili jukwaa ni la kwako. Piga simu au tuandikie kwenda WhatsApp namba alama ya kujumulisha 2760552594 na tutakupigia simu.
Mtangazaji wa habari zetu za Afrika Kusini mjini Johannesburg.
Hivyo unaweza kuwa mshirika kwenye matangazo yetu. Sio mazungumzo tu, ni fursa yako ya kuchangia maoni yako na kushirikiana na jumuiya ya wasikilizaji wanaotamani mtazamo wako. Tufuate kwenye mitandao ya kijamii. Tembelea tovuti yetu www.channelafrica.co.za na uwe tayari kushiriki na kuchangia maoni yako kwenye Channel Africa. Channel Africa, mtazamo wa Kiafrika.
Where Africa's voices rise, with stories that matter, we lead the conversation.
Channel Africa, the African perspective.
raviver les mémoires, exhumer les connaissances, que la spirale du temps efface la reine de sa vie en moi. Makeda vit en moi. Ravivons nos mémoires, il faut changer l'histoire. Elle part à la dérive, mes mots non. Le savoir et la sagesse sont à portée de main. Écoutez, observe. Makeda était reine, belle et puissante. Salomon rêvait de sa peau noire. Je chante pour raviver les mémoires, exhumer les connaissances, que la spirale du temps efface la reine de sa vie en moi. Makeda vit en moi. Mon peuple dans ses chants, il exalte sa joie. Loin de l'ignorance, il démontre sa foi. Riche d'hommes et de valeurs, il répare mes erreurs. Fils et filles, vous et moi, prêts au combat. Makeda était reine, belle et puissante. Salomon rêvait de sa peau noire. Je chante, raviver les mémoires, exhumer les connaissances, que la spirale du temps efface la reine de sa vie en moi. Makeda vit en moi.
The voice of the continent, now online, with all your sports fixtures, lifestyle, and more. Channel Africa, where every moment is an African celebration. Feel the energy, feel the connection. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Yeah, Starboy day for you. Starboy day for you. Baby girl, you find yourself up. Girl, you make my eye red, oh. Anytime you know they close to me. Yeah. Baby girl, now you I want, oh. Baby, shey na me you want, oh. Make we day 1 + 1 or 2. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. 1 liter, oh say 1 yacha. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. It be only you be my desire, oh. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. 1 liter, oh say 1 yacha. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. Only your water be burn my fire, oh. Yeah, yeah. Star boy day for you. Star boy day for you. Everywhere you go, baby girl, you be my handbag. Gone are the days when me and you just stand for. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Making it right, make it just this stand for it, though. So good. Open up my mind, and only you did my mind, though. Yeah. Baby girl, you find yourself, though. Girl, you make my head red, though. Anytime you know they close to me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Baby girl, now you I want, though. Baby, shey na me you want, though. Make we day 1 + 1 or 2. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. 1 liter, oh say 1 yacha. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. It be only you be my desire, oh. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. 1 liter, oh say 1 yacha. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. Only your water be burn my fire, oh. Yeah, yeah. Star boy day for you. Star boy day for you. This kind of love where I get see no corny, yo. Baby, I'm gonna shine with you to the morning, yo. This way I gonna do for you, girl, you know funny, yo. Don't be gonna love, man, use you play. Although, everywhere you go, baby, I go be your handbag. Gone are the days when I go let you stand for. Yeah, yeah. Making it right, make it just this stand for it, though. So good. Open up my mind, and only you did my mind, though. Yeah. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. 1 liter, oh say 1 yacha. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. It be only you be my desire, oh. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. 1 liter, oh say 1 yacha. 1 liter, oh say 1 liter. Only your water be burn my fire, oh. Yeah, yeah. Star boy day for you.
18 minutes past 10 Central African time. It is Wizkid Starboy coming through with one of his all-time favorite jams called Forever. And before that, we played you Les Nubians with a song called Makeda. They can never get old on us. That's what we call music with longevity. If you've just joined us, welcome to the show. This is the African Diaries, and my name is Nolo Matlaila. I'm holding the fort down for Sheila and Tukumana. Listen, it's Monday, and we're kickstarting a new week on African Diaries, and we kickstarted with the stories that will tug at your heartstrings, okay? We kickstarted with stories that reflect self-love and love for your community. So if you've just tuned in, well, you're in the right space. You're in the right space. And by the end of these 2 hours, you'll be feeling just right and motivated to continue the week that lies ahead. Let me quickly fill you in on where you can get in touch with us. The best way to keep up with what's happening on Channel Africa, the radio station, where we continue to give you the African perspective, is by making sure that you follow us on our social media platforms. I specifically like to tune in to Channel Africa via X, because on X, you do happen to get an hour-by-hour real-time update on what's happening on each and every single show. So you sort of have a preview on what conversations will be had on each and every single show, hour by hour, throughout the day. So if that is not a plug, I don't know what is. The social media handle for you to tap into, it's at Channel Africa, the numeric 1. So that's where you can find us on X. That's where you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok and Facebook. All right. And continuing with that, also keep in mind that we do have live streams on our YouTube channel. And that YouTube channel is at Channel Africa Radio Station Live Stream. It's the one that has over 10,000 subscriptions. So in case you get a little bit confused, but go ahead and check out live streaming there, as well as the shows that you probably missed out on during the day or in the past week. All right. And also, just to keep in mind, the best way to get in touch with us on Channel Africa is by downloading the SABC Plus app. That is a free app, which is iPhone friendly and Android friendly. This is where you can catch all TV and radio SABC shows in their respective languages on that very app. You can also catch us on Audio Bouquet, channel DSTV, channel 802. OpenView, we are at channel 628. And of course, if you want to be part of the conversations on the show, our WhatsApp line is +27 63406 9126. This is how you can share your 2 cents with, have your contribution, or even ask a question in relation to the conversations that we will be having today. So I hope you've got that information noted down somewhere. Right now, though, it is time for us to scribe in our diaries, as this is African Diaries. It's important to journal into it on a daily basis. And today we start off our diary scribing with Dear Diaries. And this is where we get to play you a snippet that will actually give you an idea of the kind of topics we will have on the show today.
Ready to connect, innovate, and be inspired. It's all happening at Africa's Tech Festival, where Africa's technology meets the world. From the 10th to the 13th of November in Cape Town, join global leaders, investors, and innovators driving the future of Africa's digital economy. Don't miss the continent's biggest week in tech. Get your pass now at africatechfestival.com.
I believe that self-love is very important. If you read my work, you know I'm always talking about loving oneself. I never trust anybody who tells me he or she loves me if the person doesn't love herself or himself. There's an African saying which is, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. I mean, if he had something, he'd cover himself first, right? So I like to look at self-love. It is very important that it comes from within, that you have a sense of yourself, so that when you walk into an office, you don't go alone. Bring your people with you. Bring everybody who has loved you with you. Say, Grandma, come on, let's go. Great-grandpa, you've been dead all this time. Come on, let's go. I have to go in here and have an interview. Come on, Auntie. Come on, my friends. Come, let's go. And when you walk in, people don't know what it is about you. They can't take their eyes off you. You may not be cute in the given sense. You may not be fashion model size in that particular sense. You may not be any of those things, but they can't take their eyes off you. And they say of you, in this incredible way, which I don't understand, they say, I don't know, but she has charisma. You know, what you have is all those people around you. So think of that. Anytime you have anything to do, bring everybody with you that you can remember who has loved you. And then you have that sense of having been paid for. And when you walk in, people will say, now, I think you're overqualified.
And that is the voice of American poet, memoirist, or better known as an author, as well as a civil rights activist. And if you are familiar with her, yes, it is Maya Angelou. And she just sums it up on what we will be discussing today. Self-love, and also, while you are loving yourself, just remember your community. When you get to the top, send the letter down so that somebody can climb up as well. This is the African Diaries. My name is Nolu Matlaila. Stick around. On the other side of this, we get into our wrap-up of the day.
African Diaries, weekdays, 10 till midnight.
Every girl deserves to feel like a star. And I know you are. I know you are. Every girl deserves to feel like a star. And I know you are. I know you are. I knew you are when I met you. Nilitamani nikupeleke kwetu. Good vibes and I'm grateful. Hapa nitapanda mbegu. You deserve to feel things you never felt before. Love you like I never did before. You don't know what's in store for you. Melanin and so much more. Heavy is your crown. Heavy is your crown. The way you hold me down. Hold me down. I hope I never let you down, my love. Every girl deserves to feel like a star.
Say yes to you. Good vibes and I'm grateful. It's obvious to me that you're special. I'm ready to give like I never did before. Love you like it's an open door. You don't know what's in store for you. Melanin and so much more for you. Heavy is your crown, and still you hold me down. I ain't gonna ever let you down, my love. Every man deserves to feel like a king. You're my everything. You're my everything. Every man deserves to feel. Every man deserves to feel like a king. You're my everything. You're my everything. My everything. My everything.
Every girl deserves to feel like a star. And I know you are. I know you are.
Every man deserves to feel like a king. Deserves to feel like a king. You're my everything.
You're everything.
My everything.
You're everything.
Wow, what a gem. That is Sauti Soul featuring the American neo-soulful Afro-soul sound type queen, India Irie, and the song is called My Everything. If you've just joined us, welcome to African Diaries. My name is Nolo Matlaila, holding the fort down for Sheila in Dukumana. And now it's time for us to get into our wrap-up of the day. This is where we give you highlights on what has been happening on each and every single show ever since sunrise. And with that said, we, of course, kickstart our highlights with Sunrise, Rise and Shine, where Peter Ndoro delivered information on the extensive unrest reported in Tunisia, especially after post-elections. And he did this with Professor Kula Ismail Teletsani, and he is the director for the organ on politics, defense, and security affairs at SADC.
You must be very concerned with what's playing out in Tanzania at this time. What is the SADC view of what's playing out?
Yes, Peter, SADC deployed a mission in Tanzania. The view at the moment cannot be expressed, and I'll tell you why. It's not that I'm running away from your question. We deployed a mission to Tanzania. So I was in Tanzania for a few days, and unfortunately I had to leave the team to go to Madagascar. As you may be aware what happened in Madagascar. So I have since been out of Tanzania. But the reason why I cannot answer your question now is that the mission is ongoing, and it will be very difficult for me to pronounce myself until the head of mission and his team finalize and release the report, which should come out very shortly.
Was the mission allowed to move freely around the country following the elections and being able to observe what's been going on?
Peter, I was informed the mission was able to move around on the day of the elections. In fact, we deployed before the elections, a week before the elections. We managed to move around and meet various stakeholders. On the day of the election, in certain parts of the country, there was a bit of a challenge for the mission to move around because of the police who wanted accreditation. Others, even with the accreditation, it was difficult for the mission to move around. But I have just looked at the report now as it is going to be released, and those details are there, Peter, and I will share it with you as soon as the report is released.
On the move, the team reflected on how people still refer to countries and regions by their colonial names long after their independence. Now, this comes as a subtle reminder of how language carries history.
So many things on the African continent were named in particular ways, and some of them were quite influenced by colonialism, right? And why things were named in a particular way. And so I came across this particular video, a conversation that Egyptian feminist writer, activist, and physician Naval El Sadawi was having in an interview. And this actually raised some intrigue from me, and probably might raise some intrigue for you too. Listen to this.
The minute I hear Middle East, I become upset. Because this is a colonial language. It's like third world, like post-colonial. Middle East. Middle what? Middle to who? You have to ask yourself. We learn. What is the term? I tell you, just wait, patience. Knowledge comes from you ask yourself why. Who called that? Why we are called Middle East? We were named, and we have to study history. We were named the Middle East because we were a British colony. So Egypt was Middle East relative to London. And India was called Far East relative to London because India was also a colony. So now, when I go to London, I say I go to the Middle West. And people laugh. When I go to the United States, I say I'm going to the Far West. And people even laugh. But when she say Middle East, nobody laughs. You see? That's colonialism. That's colonial language that we need to decolonize the language.
And on Africa Update, Lulu Gabu spoke to Tunisia-based correspondent. He goes by the name Inam Imen Bilal about the Tunisian court ruling on government critic Ahmed Sauber for 5 years over judiciary remarks.
Now, he's long been a vocal critic of President Kais Saied. How has this verdict been received among Tunisians and within the legal community?
Yes, so he's a critic and a vocal critic that is who is criticizing Kais Saied. So I believe he expected such a sentence, and the people around him who supported him also were not surprised that such a thing happened to him. The legal community is shocked by the condition of the trial.
What more do we know about the charges against Ahmed Souab and what led to his 5-year sentence?
Thank you for bringing that up. In his first court session, Ahmed Souab was sentenced, which is weird when it comes to court regulation and so on. Ahmed Souab did not commit any physical act. He was charged under the anti-terrorism law and decree law number 54 solely for a statement. He just criticized the judiciary system. He said literally, and I'm quoting, that he thinks that judges are being threatened instead of people who are accused, and he mentioned the word with knives to their necks, referring to the judges. So that was his crime. That was led to a sentence of 5 years. He was accused of endangering the lives of protected persons by deliberately disclosing information that could reveal them.
And on the upside, the team was joined by the executive director of the South African Responsibility Gambling Foundation, Sibongile Simelane. And this was to unpack how South Africa's gambling industry is at a crossroad, dividing major economic growth while also tackling the social harms of addiction. South Africa's gambling industry is at a crossroad, and this is what they discussed on the upside.
Gambling. There's a summit coming to on the 13th and 14th of November, taking place in Johannesburg in South Africa at a venue known as Empress Palace in Kempton Park. On the line with us, Sibongile Simelane Kuntana, who is Executive Director of the South African Responsible Gambling Foundation. Sibongile, I want us to just pick up on themes for this particular summit. I love that it's prefixed with responsible gambling. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the summit and perhaps look specifically at some of the gaps that exist within gambling laws in South Africa that the summit is hoping to address this year.
I think one of the things, that's why we were focusing on responsible gambling. South Africa has a fragmented approach in terms of responsible gambling, even though we are the lead in terms of in the industry, but we believe that one of the outcomes is actually us having a national responsible gambling framework. In other countries in the world, like Canada, Australia, and the UK, they actually have one single framework where they use, whether you are a regulator or operator, to actually undertake programs that have to do with responsible gambling. And in terms of the laws, I think we need to put that into context. You will understand that we've got the National Gambling Act, which was promulgated in 2004, and a lot has changed. Some of the gaps really in the act is that there isn't much mention of interactive gambling, or how then do we address issues of online gambling, which in South Africa is illegal. Online betting is legal in South Africa, but when you look at it quite closely, there are concerns that the lines seem to have been blurred a little bit. Now, we need to have a conversation as a country to say that, are we all interpreting the laws of this country, correctly? Are we all, singing from the same tree? Do we understand the provisions in terms of interactive?
And on Africa in Business, Tamin Gobeni spoke to Professor Thomas Madrup, an associate professor at Stellenbosch University and Royal Danish Defence College, to elaborate on the food, fuel, and cash shortage in Tunisia.
Fuel and cash shortages. This is according to the UK High Commission. The embassy warned against travel to the country that has been rocked by unrest since last Wednesday following an election marred by violent protests and rejected by the opposition as a sham. Despite the election dispute, Samia Suluhu Hassan was sworn in for a second term on Monday amid tight security at the military parade grounds in the capital, Dodoma, proceeding with the swearing-in ceremony, especially in light of this unrest that's resulted in claims of food, fuel, as well as cash shortages.
I think she's trying to create some kind of stability and try to put lid on the situation. I guess she's been looking to what we've seen, for instance, in Mozambique a little less than a year ago, where you had a long, disputed period of time where the opposition claimed of election fraud and all that, and we saw violence in the street and violent protest and all that. And she tries to create some kind of stability to get some kind of normalcy to the situation. The problem with this, of course, is that this election has been a scam, basically, and it's been she has limited legitimacy because of the banning of the opposition, not participating properly in the election, and opposition figures being imprisoned, and all the increasingly authoritarian tendencies we've seen happening in Tanzania for the last 1.5 to 2 years.
You can catch more of those highlights on our website. Catch a podcast that you probably missed on one of the shows. It is www.channelafrica.co.za. So we just gave you snippets on what kind of conversations you can expect on various shows throughout the week. Listen, we also do have those shows on live streaming saved on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and visit our YouTube channel, and you can check under videos or live streaming platforms. That's where you can pick up on a particular conversation that you may have an interest towards. And so that's where you can catch most of the highlights and also conversations that were had on various shows. Remember, we do a live streaming on YouTube as well as on Facebook, and we have regular updates on various shows on our X, and that is at Channel Africa 1. That's our social media handle. And so as we gear up for our first conversation on the show today, we do have an interesting quiz for you. You can also find that quiz posted on X at Channel Africa 1. You can share your commentary there as well. Otherwise, you can share your commentary on +2763 406 9126. You can also go and comment under our live streaming platform, both on YouTube and on Facebook. So now, the scenario is vision problems can limit access to decent work, even beyond driving. Many jobs, which could be related to craft, teaching, engineering, factory work, and healthcare, require clear near and distant vision. So people may avoid skilled jobs due to the fear of making visual mistakes. Now you tell me, is this true or is it absolute lies? We'll get to answer this in our very next conversation. For now, let's get back to some African sounds.
The sound of Africa is evolving. Experience our new mobile app. Free to download, free to connect. Africa's very own think tank. This is Channel Africa Online. www.channelafrica.co.za.
Hey, you're bad, man. Ice cream, but it be fake good. She
tell me say papi, she no want know that baby. Ice cream, you sweet, but she want soda. She no want no bad man, say she want bad man chulo, baby. You say papi, you're in my head. Still can't explain her. Drive me insane. So many things I did make her. You're in my head, papi. Yeah, drive me insane. Too many girls don't try to go time even no go po. Too many girls don't try to go time even no go po. Baby come make a vlog, you my copoco. Me I like it when all the girls them come and go. She said papi, you're in my head. Still can't explain her. Drive me insane. Too many things I did make her. You're in my head, papi. Yeah, drive me insane.
You give me light, charge me up, papa, just like solar. Ice cream, that I want gas me up like soda. Soda, oh. See this pressure you they put me, I don't like I'm at all. Oh, no gonna kill you, oh. He say now my body low fetch, even when busy body fed by me. He say nothing me low fetch, Too many girls them try to go tie you for opopo. Yeah, too many girls them try to go tie you for opopo. Yeah. So baby come only me fit to handle your kopoko. Me I know be like all the girls we go come and go.
She said papi, you're in my head. Still can't explain her. Drive me insane. Too many things I did make her. You're in my head, papi. Yeah, drive me insane. She said papi, you're in my head. Still can't explain her. Drive me insane. Too many things I did make her. You're in my head, papi. Yeah, drive me insane.
And that is Timaya within my head. It is 13 minutes to top of the hour. And without wasting any more time, we're getting into our first conversation of the day. Well, I wouldn't say our first. Okay, let's just say our one of the conversations of the day, because we have been having a conversation thus far, isn't it? And just in case you're wondering, why don't you hear the normal voice behind the mic on African Diaries? This is Nolo Matlaila. I'm holding the fort down for Sheila and Dukumana. Now, we've scribed in our diaries. We've had our wrap up of the day, showing you highlights on various conversations you can have on different shows throughout the day, right here on Channel Africa, where we continue to give you the African perspective. Right now, though, we will be talking about a very interesting project that focuses on community development. And of course, this is in light of love for your community, reminding you that whatever you do, when you get to the top, just remember to send the letter down so somebody else can do the same, right? So not necessarily forgetting where you come from. Now, because a large portion of the South African population depends on public sector health services, and many live in rural and underserved areas. The low ratio of public sector optometrists means that disadvantaged people are much less likely to have timely access to eye care. In one study, the crude prevalence of vision loss was 2.11% for the southern sub-Saharan Africa, exclusively in disadvantaged areas. And today, though, an organization, a company called Glencoe, has been making a real difference in the community this Eye Care Awareness Month. Now, it has been helping people in Mpumalanga see a brighter future. With that said, it's important to note that their main goal was simply to restore sight, confidence, and opportunity through investments of over 250,000. Now, Glencore is ensuring that quality eye care is accessible to everyone from school children to senior citizens because When communities see clearly, their future shines brighter. To unpack this for us and just to elaborate on it and all feel good about this story is Fiona joining us, who is a community development specialist at Glencoe Coal. Fiona Jara, welcome to African Diaries.
Hi, Nolo. Thank you for having me. And hello to everyone. Hello to your team and the listeners tonight.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. So, Fiona, I came across this story, and I guess the first thing one feels is just that warm feeling in your heart, right? It tugs at my heartstrings that there are individuals or organizations that still care for communities. I think what's where we can kickstart our conversation is to find out how did Glencoe Coal now decide to embark on such an initiative? What gaps did you see within the community that Glencoe works in or is present in?
Okay, thank you. So Glencoe is currently operating, Glencoe Coal South Africa is operating in the Nkangala district in Mpumalanga. And one of our hub hospitals or big hospitals in the region is Witbank Hospital. So we have partnered with the South African National Council of the Blind and the Department of Health via Witbank Hospital to assist in the area of eye care. And this project specifically is to prevent, avoidable blindness. So we were interested in partnering with this organization who brought to light to us the dire need of financial intervention in restoring, eyesight. Just imagine yourself personally going blind at, say, at an advanced age. You are losing independence, you are losing your sense of self, but then there's light at the end of the tunnel when you are told this blindness that is creeping up on you is actually reversible. Your sight is actually restorable. And this is the opportunity that we then came in to say we can help with the finances to back this project that is so necessary and can change people's lives for the better. So ultimately, to answer your question, the South African National Council of the Blind alerted Glencoe of this need, and Witbank Hospital, being within our host community, was also, indicating the need of such financial intervention from us to assist them with the backlog that they have on the issue.
Very inspirational, and it's just good to know that such an organization would be willing to head up such an initiative. I'm pretty sure that it's not an easy task to carry, particularly since it can go as far as having to fund cataract surgeries. Can you kindly tell us about that? I read that you have funded cataract surgeries. What is the selection criteria for those cataract surgeries, and what is the process going forward?
Okay. So we have partnered with this non-profit organization called the South African National Council of the Blind since 2018. So this has been an ongoing flagship project for us. Although this year we have funded 22 cataract surgeries, as you've mentioned earlier, for 250,000 Rand. So the selection criteria is done by the Council of the Blind as well as the Witbank Hospital. There is an existing backlog. There is a list of individuals waiting in line to have such an opportunity to be operated on. So the criteria is used to select from that backlog those that are in dire need. I know that everyone is in need. I'm not saying that there's a hierarchy or anything, but the hospital and the Council of the Blind then look at the client list to see individuals in dire need. We had, for example, a 21-year-old this round. You wouldn't think that cataract can affect people as young, because it's an issue that faces the elderly mostly. But there are
Yeah.
such unique cases that you can be born with, with a cataract, and you can even get it from a very young. So that criteria or that selection looks at individual stories. It looks at the background of the individuals and how such intervention now will change the person's life. So imagine now we have been able to assist a 21-year-old within the Ngangala district, someone who would have waited many years to get the opportunity to be operated on. But because now at the person's youth, when they are entering the job market, when they are, starting, their career, this is how we were able to then identify them through the rigorous background checks of the Council of the Blind as well as the hospital. So going forward, we will maintain the partnership with the South African National Council of the Blind and with Bank Hospital to ensure that we continue to roll out this very impactful project.
Wow, Fiona. So, there's a study across South Africa that has proven that most people from disadvantaged areas, rural areas to be specific, do not even bother to get their eye healthcare checkup, right? And that is due to, cost, distance, and the fact that many people don't even know that they can or should actually get an eye exam. Now, for those school going children, does the organization then, aside from having backlog information from the hospital, do you intentionally visit schools to offer those eye care exams?
Yes, that background is quite accurate, what you just shared now. And
Mm-hmm.
it has led us to screen about 7,000 school going learners. We've this year successfully screened grade 12s ahead of their matric exams. And we've also screened learners from as young as grade 4 to grade 11 for any signs of eye, eye, um, eye care problems. And once we've identified a learner that has vision challenges, we then assist with free spectacles, as well as to assist them with understanding where to sit in class, to be able to read the board, to be able to read digital screens. So we are not only focusing on how do we then address someone who has advanced um, eye challenges, but we are also being proactive to prevent any from starting on the onset. So we have worked through our host schools, whereby we've done screenings for thousands of learners to ensure that we assist as early and we educate as early as possible on the importance of taking care of one's eyesight and to understand the need to get those checks as early as possible and throughout then your life.
And once they can actually get that checked out as early as possible, without them even knowing, it's going to benefit them in the future, especially when they get into the workspace. And so now, Fiona, before I let you go, I think what's important is just to find out if this initiative will spread past Mpumalanga and maybe have it in various parts of South Africa and maybe in the near future, the African continent. Is that a possibility for Glencoe Coal?
That is a very beautiful hope and vision for us. However, at the moment, we are still focusing on our host and mine communities, the communities that are immediately around our operations. That those are our doorstep communities, the people in the areas in which we work, the people who live in the areas, who work in the areas,
Yeah.
and who are from these areas. So hopefully one day, you never know, but for now, our focus is giving back to those communities who so generously host us.
And that's beautiful. So for those who maybe would like more information on this community development initiative or would like to partner with you, what is the best way to get in touch with Glencoe Coal?
The best way to start is through our website, Glencoe Coal South Africa. We have our contact details there. And yes, we will continue to communicate.
Well, thank you so much, Fiona Jaran, for making time for us. And we really do commend the work that you do within Witbank and in Mpumalanga alongside with the Witbank Hospital. Did I leave anybody out that you're working along with?
I think you did quite well, Nolo.
All right. Thank you so much for making time. That was the voice of Fiona Jara, Community Development Specialist from Glencoe. If there is a page from their book that we can take is look around the community that you exist in and that you work in and find the need that is not really noticed by the individuals themselves and assist where you can. You do not have to do it alone. Partner with other stakeholders or other organizations around you. Listen, we've just landed into the second hour of the show. It is 1 minute past 11 Central African time. Let's get some African sounds while we prepare ourselves for the next conversation where we talk self-love and building boundaries.
Gratitude begins with a story. Find yours on Channel Africa. Now streaming on our new website and mobile app.
Annika Longi sur Channel Africa.
Comment est-ce que les militants et sympathisants du parti Les Transformateurs ont-ils réagi face à la condamnation de Succès Masra?
La condamnation de Succès Masra ne nous a pas surpris et les militants transformateurs ont été bouleversés et indignés étant donné que le verdict est un verdict lourd, illégal, injuste et donc face à la répression dans laquelle le peuple tchadien est confronté, les militants transformateurs se sont résignés de ne pouvoir pas sortir manifester. Et donc, c'est une situation totalement absurde pour un pays. Et aujourd'hui, nous célébrons le 11 août, fête de l'indépendance. On pensait que le verdict allait être plus ou moins clément, mais le verdict est sévère.
Annika Longi, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
This is
Channel Africa.
Wake up with gratitude, hope, and the African spirit. Channel Africa, now easier to access than ever before. WhatsApp us on +27 63 406 9126. Turn the page. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa. From Cape to Cairo, every beat tells a story. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
I really like what you done to me. I can't really explain it. I am so
talking like you're ready, can you handle that? Maybe we can settle that. I know you're fiending for my bigger back, ooh. All in your face, all in your face. I'm down to do what you really want to. Champagne with a little fun, yeah. Show me what you really want. Nobody do me as good as you. See my record, just like magic. Drive me loco, automatic, so electric. Roboto, oh, you give me such an essence. I can hack it, so spiritual, fresh out the package. Oh, I rap like bandage on you. It's only you for me. You for me. You for me. Nobody fit today can never ever. Caesar, call you my Caesar. I'm still a diva, but I'm a keeper. It's your ability for stability. It's how you keep me held in captivity. Oh, me like it. You know I'm for it. See my record, just like magic. Drive me loco, automatic, so electric. Roboto, oh, you give me such an in essence, I can hack it. So spiritual, fresh out the package. Oh, I wrap like bandage on you. It's only you for me. You for me. You for me. Oh, I'm into you for me. Give it all to me. Can't nobody compare to you.
I'ma to bury the low magbatola. I'ma to bury the low magbatola. I'ma to bury the low magbatola. Batola, batola.
Africa's heart beats one story at a time on African Diaries with Shayla.
Let us be honest. I know my heart if I be honest. She in control, what she feel on it. The petrol that calm me down. You like this, I like thing, my love. I love being your love. I'm tryna show you up. You up, comforter. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl, fresh up and it on me. But you can't do it slowly. You're dirty wine, would you penny for me? Take a picture in the shot sleeve. I had a feeling one of these days you'll be there, reason I stay. When you ain't girl, you make me say, ooh, crazy, yes, crazy, crazy. You are me, girl, you're me. Chocolate one bite. They say I love it, but make a man fight. But I girl, hold up. Who better than? Bring her out, my girl fine like it at a bang. I like the way she boogie down. Give me booty bounce, make her elevator finance. Pussy and pressure, give her that girl later. Sharp like saber, my girl so fine. Give me the T1. I like the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl, fresh up and it on me. But you can't do it slowly. You're dirty wine, would you penny for me? Take a picture in the shot sleeve. I had a feeling one of these days you there, reason I stay. When you ain't girl, you make me say, yeah, you're pretty, my girl. Turn up the night, turn up the dance floor. I should ride the motorcycle. You know you got to kick to my drum. Ooh, I go do anything when consign my charges. Yeah, I go do anything when consign my shawty. I wanna go there, take me there. I wanna go there. Where the black thing, girl, don't take it from me. Comforter, she really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl in the Maybach. She really the A-list girl. She really my favorite girl. I'm loving the way you twirl. You twirl.
8 minutes past 11 Central African time. That was Daku featuring Rayma with Favorite Girl. And before that, we played you Tiwa Savage with You For Me. Listen, we're going to get into our second conversation of the day. Remember, I did mention to you that right here on the African Diaries, what we usually do is we try to keep up with the theme of love, right? And usually on Mondays, we focus on love for your community and self-love. Now, today, we're diving into, not necessarily a popular way of practicing self-love. I would say it's more modern, and some would say that it's adopted from the Western culture, and that is boundaries. how you build up boundaries to protect your mental and physical health. Now, boundaries could be something as simple as not attending certain events. Why? Because maybe you are just not a social individual, or your social anxiety doesn't allow you to be in those environments. Building boundaries could be something as specific as not having your colleagues visit you in your private space, and that is home, correct? And maybe also personal boundaries nowadays, which is very unfamiliar to the African parent, is actually telling your family members, certain family members, that you're cutting them off, no longer communicating with them because they're toxic and it is not good for your mental health, right? Follow with me. Now, with that said, as an African child, we are raised within a culture of Ubuntu, where we exist within a collective, right? And where the needs or the well-being of not only your family member, but your neighbor should be important to you. Because I am, because we are. And that is the philosophy of Ubuntu. Now, what am I trying to get at here? What I'm trying to get at here is just make you realize that as an African child, how do you then incorporate building boundaries as a form of self-love and also still being able to practice the culture of Ubuntu? Now, in psychology and personal development, boundaries are limits you set to protect your emotional, physical, and mental well-being. Now, in the African culture, Ubuntu is a foundational African philosophy that emphasizes interconnectedness, community, sharing, and mutual care. Now, as an African child, what happens when you want to prioritize your mental health over communal obligations? Now, why is it that it is a problem when an individual seeks privacy and solitude in a culture that values togetherness? Look, I haven't been living for that long, and I thought, the best way for us to get a little bit of insight on how to make these two concepts coexist harmoniously is maybe find somebody who can clearly elaborate on the concept of Ubuntu. This is an individual who's also worked with a variety of people from various walks of life, and also depicts how Africans live life on screen through the arts. I'm talking about a Pan-Africanist of note, a storyteller. He's known across South Africa affectionately as a director and a thespian. I'm talking about Mr. Neo M. Amatsunyani, who's joining us on the line just to have a conversation around this, and maybe he could share some insight and a few nuggets of wisdom for us. Mr. Matsunyani, welcome to African Diaries.
Good evening to you and your crew there, and obviously your listeners. And thank you for having me on air with you today.
Thank you for making time for us, especially at this time of the night. Listen, although it may be late in South Africa, Central African time, we do have other listeners tuning in from various time zones. So without wasting any more time, I guess then maybe what I would like to gauge from you, sir, what we would like to gauge from you is to try and understand what is your perspective on personal boundaries and your perspective on Ubuntu in this era that we currently live in?
All right. I think we should start first by defining what Ubuntu is.
Yeah.
And then we can get more into the personal space stuff. Because Ubuntu means, as you said, I am because you are. But at the same time, the word Ntu, for instance, means just a human being, but it also emphasizes a very special point about spiritual oneness and harmony amongst people and nature. So that's why it's called Ubuntu or Botu, because it's about humaneness. It's not just, my apologies.
No problem.
It's about humaneness, which basically says, I cannot exist as an individual. I exist because you exist, and you exist because I exist.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that you cannot set borders within yourself. It also doesn't mean that now you are open for exploitation. That's not what Ubuntu is about. Ubuntu is about building each other, but it's about respect and respecting of each other as people. A simple thing, for instance, like, in Joburg, as you walk around the streets, you don't care who you meet, you don't greet, you don't do anything. But if you go to rural areas, if you walk past someone and you didn't greet them, you'd actually be chastised to say, what's wrong with you? Where is your sense of spirituality and oneness that says, I recognize the spirit that is in you in the same way as I expect you to recognize the spirit in me? That doesn't mean there are no boundaries. Yes, you can still set boundaries, like you said earlier when you were introducing the topic, that sometimes you have to navigate your own space and say, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Maybe let's say, for instance, make an example where you say, I will not be visiting certain friends, or I will not let certain friends into my space. There must be a reason for that. It doesn't mean that you are not available for them on certain things, but you choose to allow them in your space to protect your sanity. It's important that you should come first in any space. Like, for instance, if you're in an airplane and there was an emergency of about decompression. As you know, the first rule is, as soon as the masks come down, you put your mask on first before you can help somebody else. So that is also the connectedness to say, if you were to put that mask on someone else, you might lose yourself in the process. But Ubuntu says, I am because you are. So you prioritize yourself first to make sure that you're alive, even if it's a parent. Even as a parent, it's important that the parent keeps themselves alive so that they are there for their children. Then they can help the children with the mask or with whatever it is that they need to do. This doesn't mean then that I don't have boundaries just because. So with you as well, or with anyone, if you are going to be in my space, it is also going to be on my terms. But there are other little things in between that will unite us, that will make us get together. Sometimes you do cut off family members off forever for whatever they did, but it's because you probably also got to a line where you felt that your sanity was at stake, and then you have to go and excuse yourself out of it. Because if you don't excuse yourself out of toxic situations, you are going to end up being one of them, or you're going to lose your mind in the process, which is not something that I think anyone would like to to experience. So there is an organic and very symbiotic relationship, between Africans, which is the essence of Africanity and African humanity. To say we will be there for each other without even having to know each other. We're there for each other in very different ways. For instance, you would find that when you go to a fruit market, there's lots of people selling the same thing on the same line. And that for me is another, it's just a simple example to say, regardless, they're in competition, but at the same time, if one of them eats, they will share something to eat together, or they will say, look after my stall, I'll come back when I'm still going to the whatever that is that they need to do. So even though they're selling the same product, there's financial competition, but the spirit of unity unites us more than it separates us, until, of course, certain cultures invaded our space, realized what we were doing and how beautiful it was, copied it amongst themselves, for themselves, and use it. And I mean, today they're even using it for themselves, but again, it was used against us because it was so beautiful. They found our flaws within, and unfortunately that has become contaminated with you not knowing your neighbor today just because you live in a town. But in the rural areas, I'm sure you know more than one of your neighbors, because they are a better community. They still exercise the spirit of oneness, where one can still go and say, may I have, can you borrow me this, can you do that? Even in the township, you still get that camaraderie amongst people to say, man, I would like to have some sugar, but I don't have sugar. Something as simple as that. But as soon as you move into the urbanized areas, you don't even know who your next door neighbor is. Whether they are black, white, or any color, it doesn't matter anymore. But it doesn't mean we lose our sense of Ubuntu or our sense of Ubuntu, which is quite a travesty to see what Ubuntu has become as opposed to what it should be standing for in modern day society.
What has it become? I think that's what I wanted to ask you. So, so in your opinion, has it been diluted or not? And what have you been seeing or observing in terms of what Ubuntu is in today's lifestyle?
It has been diluted a lot. I'll make an example, for instance. The concept of having an old age home in an African sense does not exist. We don't have
Very
those.
foreign, yeah.
But now it's very far, but now we do. Because, and there's also this other concept that is labeled black tax. We don't
Oh.
even have an African word for black tax.
Those
cannot be our values and our systems from an African-centered perspective. These are things that have infiltrated our systems and have been, I don't know, I want to say they've been imposed upon us because they did not exist. Like I said, we don't even have them in an African, you can't even translate that into any African language to say what is black tax. Because now we've been made to look as if helping each other, whether it's our parents or our brothers or our sisters or our cousins, is a financial burden on us. It cannot be. We cannot be. If I'm sitting with my brothers or my relatives and I'm able, or two or three of them are able, and one of us or a few of them are not able, we should be able to sit around the same table and say, hey, my brother, how you doing? How's the family? What can I help? What's happening? What's happening? You know, something this one could probably say, man, I couldn't pay school fees for the child for this month. I couldn't get food for this. Then we make sure that we cover up for each other in that way to say, no. Let me cover your school fees for this month. Let me buy you grocery for this month, so that we do not expose ourselves to other people, or so that we do not actually make our relatives suffer while we're alive and able to help. Why should my mom go and ask for food from my neighbor while I'm there? You know, that's not an African-centered perspective. Why should it be seen as black tax when I'm helping my family or when my family is helping me? Why? What do you mean black tax? I'm not being taxed. Maybe it delays certain things in your progress to say, you know, maybe I cannot buy myself a car because I still have to feed my family. Who else is supposed to feed your family if you're not going to do it because they fed you all your life to become whatever it is that you've become, whether you're a music maker, whatever profession that you do.
Yeah.
So we cannot write off certain things, paint them white when they are not, and also change our humanity from what it was to what it's become, unfortunately. Like, as I was saying, sometimes, when we were growing up, you wouldn't even smoke a cigarette in front of an adult you didn't know.
Never.
Nowadays, you go into a bus, you find school children, young ones, sitting and older people standing because like, hey, you're not my parent. That is not an African-centered perspective. When you meet anyone older, you will always say Mama so-and-so or Papa so-and-so, even if they're not your parent, just to recognize the fact that they are older than you. But you cannot do the same thing in a Western society. In Western societies, you would never find a young boy saying, hey, Mama so-and-so. They call them off by name. And to them, it is okay. But in an African-centered perspective, it is almost disrespectful to call me by name as if I'm older than you, especially with years. You know what I'm saying? So that for me is infiltration because it is not representative of who we are.
I hear you, sir. But now, from what I'm gauging here is that you are of the belief that the Ubuntu culture can coexist with the Western culture that you say has been infringed on us by the Western culture of personal boundaries. However, I just want to pull back a little bit, okay? So in terms of the few things that you've mentioned, black text, and also just greeting somebody when you walk past them, even if you don't know them, knowing who your neighbor is so that in times of trouble, you know where to run to. Now, where is that blurry line, or where can you actually make that line visible and identify it on how to still keep your safety? Because we live in a very unhealthy times with so many social ills, right? So personal boundaries could come into play for safety reasons as well, for yourself and your family. So now, where do you draw the line between practicing the culture of Ubuntu, especially making sure that your descendants know about it as an African child, and also making sure that you still keep your safety, whether it's physical or mental? And I'm saying that because when it comes to black text, you find certain parents really sucking their children dry It's like their kids have to now pay back for being fed, for being raised, and being taken to school by their parents. Whereas if we really were to come down to the heart of the matter, it is a parent's responsibility. So where do you draw the line between black text that's exploitive and black text that's just the norm?
I'm sure I did say from in the beginning to say the spirit of camaraderie or the spirit of oneness and harmony amongst people, between people and animals, is not due to exploitation. Just because I'm good to you doesn't mean you should exploit me. If someone comes to you regularly borrowing money from you and you just keep on giving and it never comes back, you need to draw a line. It doesn't matter who they are. It could be a parent, a brother, a friend, or anyone, to say, hey, listen, man, I'm sorry, I cannot afford to continue with this any longer. It doesn't mean you're refusing or you're stopping to help that person in other things. You're still maintaining the relationship. We don't have to antagonize anyone, but you just need to be firm in what you're saying to make your point, to say, especially in these difficult times, I cannot afford to give you money anymore or as much money as I used to. It doesn't mean you are not being you're not practicing Ubuntu just because you're putting boundaries around yourself to protect your, like I said, your sanity and also your finances. You can still work within that framework, but it has to be with an understanding. It's the same understanding that you need to preach and show to your children, to say, no, don't do this or do that. You teach them. You have to teach your children about certain things, to say, son, when you meet people, say hello to them. But you do it as well so that they learn from you. I went to school. I went to live in the Transkei years ago, and coming from Johannesburg, I went to a very rural area. And that's where I saw this practice, for instance, greeting everybody you didn't know. And to me, it was very scary. Like, oh, you greet everybody? And like, yeah, you gotta greet everybody. And it happened that one day someone said to me, why, whose child are you if you didn't greet? If you, because they wanted to chastise me. It's like I was badly brought up. So coming back to, Ubuntu, it says to me, because the loss of Ubuntu for me was the destruction of the African family nucleus, and whether it's personal or also in a broader sense, instead of like continental. And xenophobia is a good example in present time South Africa. There was a time. For as long as I can remember, we've always had foreigners in South Africa. We've always had, but all of a sudden, somebody says something somewhere. All of a sudden, the tables turn, and now we start hating on each other. It was very painful for me to go to Kenya one day, a long time ago. And as I arrived, it was during those xenophobic moments in South Africa. And the people said, I remember the lady who welcomed me, they said, welcome to Kenya. Don't worry, we are not going to kill you here. That hit hard.
What?
Because I know what she meant. I couldn't say, no, it's not me. Because I had to take the country's responsibility upon my shoulder to say, it's in my country where such acts are being practiced, that it's up to me to make sure that I don't carry that, and I also become an exemplary into that community. But you have to put, like I say, your boundaries are always important, but you don't have to be nasty putting your boundaries around you. Ubuntu does not mean it's an open key to exploitation, or especially exploitation, but unfortunately other people do it because they've learned to exploit it and they don't care. But at the core of our Africanity and Africanness, Ubuntu is something that you can actually never take away from us, even if though sometimes we don't practice it. And especially as African people, when you do something that is spiritually incorrect, deep down what you're doing wrong, whether you know. So that for me is what cannot separate you from your Ubuntu and your spirituality.
Okay, so I want to agree to disagree with you, but before I do that, I would say maybe it's time we redefine the concept of Ubuntu, because it's already diluted, right? And as much as you say, the point of it is not to exploit or to take advantage of somebody else. However, it's easier said than done. And as a matter of fact, it's already been done. But before we get into that and conclude our conversation, let me just remind our listener who's probably just tuned in that what you're hearing there is the voice of a storyteller, Pan-Africanist, director, and a thespian of note. He goes by the name Mr. Neo M. Matsunyani. And we are talking how personal boundaries can actually work together with the Ubuntu culture. Listen, as a matter of fact, initially at the beginning of this conversation, I wanted to know about how they clash. But from our conversation, we're hearing from Mr. Matsunyani that they can actually coexist, which I'm really trying to wrap my head around, Mr. Matsunyani. So
Yes, Ms. Lolo.
you are saying that they can coexist, but don't you think that because times have changed, there's so much we need to look out for? Yet we still want our descendants to learn this culture of Ubuntu.
Yes.
But isn't it time maybe we redefine it?
Listen, Ubuntu cultures evolve in the same way as Ubuntu has evolved as well, So we need to evolve with the times to accommodate what is happening today without losing that sense of responsibility that is instilled within Ubuntu.
We've
as
already
concept.
lost it partially, to be honest.
Well, not much. It's a decision as well. It's a decision. If you're gonna let it go in your family will never know about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a quotation that I'd like to give Wayne Muller, which I think quite also explains this quite well. It says, "We are called to be strong companions and clear mirrors to one another, to seek those who reflect with compassion and are keen how we're doing, whether we sin-centered or on course. We need the nourishing company of others to create the circle needed for growth, freedom, and healing." So it's like in your family, you create the atmosphere in your family. What your child does outside will be a reflection of your family. So it's incumbent upon the parent
Absolutely.
to make sure that your child learns the very basic principles of Ubuntu is in the house. One of them is say please, that's the first one, and say thank you.
Yeah.
Those are the first things that you teach your child. Say please, baby, please, mommy, and they do it, right? And that is Ubuntu. It say you need to be grateful. The modicum of gratitude. You need to be grateful, and you also need to, you need to be grateful. It's about gratitude as well. That is also what Ubuntu is about. It's about being grateful for the little that I can share with you. Sometimes I might not be able to give you the money that you need, but I might be able to share that loaf of bread with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is incumbent upon us to make sure that our children do not leave our homes without a sense of knowing who they are or where they are or where you would like them to do or what you'd like them to learn. If you're not going to teach your children manners, trust me, there's other people out there who have no scruples that will teach your child to be exactly what they are and what they want your child to be.
So we've already established that personal boundaries can coexist with the Ubuntu culture, and we've established that, as a matter of fact, when needs be, yes, do build up those walls that are called boundaries to take care of self, but without necessarily being cruel to the other individual. But in terms of your safety, it's necessary. What I wanted to now clarify is, since we live in interracial communities,
yeah,
how then do we teach, for lack of a better word, the culture of Ubuntu without imposing our ways on other races?
We can never. It's not up to us to teach other races Ubuntu. It's not about them. It's not in them. But they have learned the principles of Ubuntu, that's like I said, and they're using them against us. So I'd rather concentrate on teaching my child, my family, my friends, or my close companions, that spirit of camaraderie, rather than constantly to worry about other nationalities who actually don't care about how we feel. I'll make an example. We're used to, as Africans, we used to be scantily dressed. Women used to walk about without having to worry about their breasts and everything, but they would cover their front and walk bare-breasted. But nowadays, and then religion came, and religion said, no, you guys are naked, put something on. And all of a sudden, started putting something on. And now, as soon as that cover was removed from the breast, now all of a sudden, the woman became sexualized.
Which
something
is,
that was not there before.
Ironic,
now it changed our thinking towards African women because we started seeing nudity as opposed to seeing purity. We
Yeah.
didn't care before Kamnagotsabu Shaka Zulu or before, people were, that's the nature of Africanness. We were like that. But now all of a sudden, if you someone were to open the door and you're in the shower, the first thing that you're going to do is cover up your very boobs, the very things that have been everywhere all this time. So how do you teach a people who taught you that you were naked when you were not? How do you teach them to see things from that eye, to say, actually, I was not naked? I mean, remember even on Google, when they showed the reed dance in Swaziland, they blacked out the breasts of the young girls. And you're like, no, but why are you blacking them out? Those are young girls. That's in our culture. That's our tradition. It's because from their perspective, they sexualized the young girls as opposed to seeing the purity in the young girls and the women that are part of the Umhlanga reed dance. So to change that perspective in people of other cultures, it's not going to work. It's up to us just to instill and be ourselves, and they can learn from us. I remember one day there was another job that I was working on, a drama series that I was working on. When it came to its end, one of the actors came to me, and he was obviously of a different race, and he said to me, "Thank you for teaching me to respect people." And obviously I know what that meant. And I was like, hey, you're welcome, and I had to take him for who he was and where his culture taught him, because he couldn't say African people or blacks because it would sound too racist, or too uncomfortable. But he said, thank you for teaching me to respect people. And that to me, it meant a lot, because it also meant he didn't respect black people as much as he should have.
Yes.
So from my interactions with him, it was obviously very clear from the beginning that it had nothing to do with race, but it was all professional because we were working together. But through my professionalism, he managed to see a certain element in me that made him a happier person, and that opened up his mind towards people that were different to him.
Wow. Okay, so now before I let you go, I've got so many questions. I feel like time is just not enough. So now I have to just
talk too much.
pick a few to ask before we wrap it up. But you mentioned working on a certain drama series, and I just wanted to then find out from you as a director and a storyteller, as you can notice that Africa has been mainly focusing on pushing the African narrative in storytelling. You see it in the kind of soapies and movies that we see. However, do you feel, from your observation and your extensive experience in this field,
and I'm very upset about it.
What are you upset about?
The fact that we are not able to tell our stories as much as we used to. We used to have in South Africa SABC 1, 2, 3, and there was lots of work.
Yeah.
Loads of work, and we showed African content. I mean, when it started off, it was mostly directed by white people until we came into the picture and we started directing our own movies. But now, the certain streaming services that have put somewhat of a halt to that. When you look for work, or when you apply for work, when you ask for commissions, they want us to look at IP, intellectual property, from other countries like Latin American countries, Mexico and stuff, where most of the shows that you see on the famous streaming channel actually are not South African content. They've been adapted into South African content. So, but for me, we're still missing the point, because I don't think they are not talking to us. We see ourselves doing things that are not us.
And that contributes to the dilution.
Because now we're being made to look like it's us doing them. But when you look at them, sometimes when you look at this series, there's a lot of connectedness. You can connect. You like, what's wrong with the story? Yes, maybe the performance could be beautiful and stuff, but we lack a certain connectedness with the stories that we're telling, because they are not representative of us and or our culture. So it's just us doing. It's like white people doing blackface. Now here we are, black people doing white things or foreign things or Mexican things or Latin American. That does not help us as a country or as a culture of filmmakers to tell our stories, because we've been forced and channeled to tell stories that are not ours by being forced to adapt our intellectual property from other countries. Because when I came up with mine, I said, hey, here's a story I would like to tell. They said, no. Just look at other countries first. So that is how will then other people know what South African content really is like if what you're going to see on screen is a representation of Mexico that is done by Black South Africans? It is a problem. I have a problem with our television nowadays. Like, people dictate to us now what we should tell on television. We can't tell the stories that made sense, that drew people to watch television. Nowadays, even the quality of what is what nowadays doesn't, is out of, is not up to standard. But before I even get into that, for me, it's just the storylines that we are watching are not relevant to South Africans and actually to Africans per se. I cannot be doing a story about Jose and Manuel and make it look relevant in modern day South Africa. It's not going to be the same. The themes are not going to be the same because the people are also driven by different things. They're not driven by a sense of Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Where if you were to see me walk past an adult, I would say Dumelang without the director having to say Dumelang, because in me, it's normal to greet anyone that walks past me,
Yeah.
But Bona, it might not be their culture, but now if you do it, so there will be that mix up. That's why I say we can't relate to the stories that we see mostly on television, especially on streaming channels that are not made in South Africa, or that we make in South Africa, but is IP from other countries.
And in the process, that what brings about the dilution of our cultural practices, specifically things like the Ubuntu culture. So, but then I don't like to leave things on.
Sorry for me, I think for me, you just said. For me, it's like it's a cultural genocide. It's been done deliberately.
Sure.
And that for me is a problem. It's like they're saying, give them things that they cannot relate to, but the young ones that are coming up, that's all they see on television. They're watching television that does not belong to them, and they think they are there. Now, all of a sudden, have you heard how our young boys speak and children speak nowadays?
Yes.
Boys and girls and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
They can't even spell anymore. They speak American. They go in, they can't even spell
do something.
Because they're taking in all of this American slang and thinking it's proper English, but at the same time, not now all of a sudden our rappers start shooting each other just because the rappers in America are shooting each other. That's not within a South African cultural context. But now, because of what we subjected to, of what we see, what we fed with deliberately, now all of a sudden this Soweto gangster rap. Like, come on, we were not like that. It was never, the rivalry between musicians was never about guns and stuff. Like, for instance, the rivalry between Stimela and Sanko Mota. It was about who's going to produce the best album. So it stimulated creativity in that sense, as opposed to saying ending each other's lives. So those are the cultures that we say, like, when we infiltrated, we end up acting like them, forgetting who we are. And that is a problem.
So now, Mr. Matsunyane, I never like to leave conversations on a doom and gloom note. I'm definitely not letting you go if we're going to leave it on a doom and gloom note. Please tell me there is hope. And if there is hope, how do you see it actually changing to what it's supposed to be?
The onus is up to us Africans to make things right. We are aware that there's been seeds of this vision that have been sown amongst us, but it's up to us. If I am not going to treat Nolo properly as a sister, whether I know her or not, then it is up to my disadvantage. Then my generation of people will lose something very valuable. If I, as an individual, I'm not going to practice what I preach or practice Ubuntu, I shouldn't also be surprised when the same thing happens to me when people don't practice it on me. Like you were saying, it's not even about safety. It's about saying camaraderie. I know who you are and you know who I am. Let's get together so that if it happens that there should be an emergency, but also even in times of when there's a celebration, that you can invite other people into your home to celebrate with them, to celebrate friendships and camaraderie, to bring spirits together, to bring the ancestors together. It's up to us as Africans to make sure that we teach our children what is right. It's up to us to make sure they don't watch things that are not supposed to watch, that are outside of our African context, or that are, that would be damaging to their being. There's other countries, in Africa where they still practice Africanism in a proper sense. It's unfortunate South Africa is one of those that, given our history and our recent, history of freedom, so to speak, that only now, 30 years later, 30 years is still too young, but it's also too old, because politics are the main things that have actually infiltrated our blackness and our Africanity and our Africanness and have turned them into something else. We're faced with things like Zionism nowadays, which is another factor altogether. So
Sure.
it's up to us as Africans to take the baton and make sure that we don't lose it. We can
Yeah.
see, the thing is, innately, deep down, we know when we're doing wrong things. And you don't have
Yes.
to be African to know that.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's hope. It's up to us to wake up. Africa is waking up, as you can see in the diaspora. The things are changing
Yeah.
politically. Hopefully that will also help restore culture, because, like, for instance, in Burkina Faso, they don't do French as an official language anymore.
Yes.
They speak Burkinabe now. And so that's the beginning of an evolution on its own, to say, let's start using our own languages so that we don't forget what they are, what they sound like. There's other people that I've worked with that are African, are coming from Benin, who say they don't even know how to speak their indigenous languages. It's a problem, because in language there is culture. If you know how to greet someone in their language, it means that you understand their culture and how they need to be addressed.
Yes.
And that is the beginning of our, our evolution, I think.
Now, Matsunyane, I feel like we should still have you on the show in the near future, especially to dissect and digest topics related to what we spoke about today, because I just picked up on a few things there that need more elaboration. But at the end of the day, it will be to our benefit, because with elaboration will come, our mental emancipation, which is what we need, correct? But thank you so much for making time. We really do appreciate you talking to us this evening. And I think we picked up a few nuggets of wisdom from there. I definitely have some take-homes. And I hope that our fellow Channel Africa listener did the same. And most importantly, I just want to thank you for doing exactly what Channel Africa promises to do, and that is to push the African perspective. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful morning too.
All right. Yes. Well then, that was the voice of Neo Matsunyane. If you missed out on that very interesting conversation, I suggest that you make sure that you hop onto our live streaming platforms and you can catch up on everything. We have about 14 minutes left to top of the hour. Let's get a breather. On the other side of this, we'll do the recap and get in touch with Morris Touch to let us know what to look forward to on his show.
This is
Channel Africa.
Stay tuned to Channel Africa. Stream us on our new and updated website, channelafrica.co.za.
We don't have to go to 360 degrees. Now it's time we go the 180. You don't have to climb the highest mountains, for all you're looking for is within you. Open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as I sing my song. Open the eyes of your mind, your ears and mouth, as you hear my words. Oh, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting, I'll be home. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day, ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-day. I'll be waiting, I'll be. We still live in yesterday, many today the waste away, but nevertheless it's never late. Oh, see the times have changed. I thought you knew that these words will never ever wait for you. So drop your guns and your swords and let us live all as one. We all need love and understanding. So drop your guns and your swords and let us live all as one. Oh. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee. I'll be waiting. Oh, I'll be. Every nation across the ocean is more than just a colors. We all need one another. Oh, oh. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee. Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-dee. I'll be waiting for you. For you, you, and you. I've been waiting for you. Every people, wherever you be, it's more than just a color. We only one another.
Beautiful vocals by Asa on a track called titled 360. You know, if you talk about artists that have longevity and no matter how long they go MIA on us and don't release any album, we still love the work that they left us with, and we shall patiently wait for them to return on the music scene because we know they're busy cooking in studio and we cannot hate or rush the creativity. Listen, this has been your Monday edition of African Diaries. My name is Nolo Matlela. I was standing in for Shailan Dukumana, our lovely presenter, who will be back with us hopefully tomorrow. What an interesting show. Listen, I always feel good when I can listen to a show that not only informs me, motivates me, and also provokes me to make changes. And that's exactly how I felt like today's show did, because we kickstarted the show with a feel-good story by a community development initiative by an organization called Glencoe Cole, partnering with Witbank Hospital in Mpumalanga. And they have been providing eye care to the disadvantaged communities within and around that area, starting from children straight into the elderly. And moreover, they have been funding cataract surgeries for those that have been waiting in the backlog for such a surgery. And so affording people better vision and as a result, a better future. And hopefully that can inspire somebody out there to give back in one way or another to their community. We also had a conversation, very lengthy, very informative, and thought-provoking conversation with Pan-Africanist storyteller, a thespian and director, Neo M. Matsunyani, who really just, I wouldn't call it a plot twist, but drove the conversation in a direction I never really thought would, because the understanding was that personal boundaries cannot really coexist with the culture of Ubuntu, but he just made us realize how we can actually merge those, and more importantly, to not allow the culture of Ubuntu, which is at the core of every African, to be diluted and lost. And it's up to us as African children of the soils, to carry on that culture, that narrative into our descendants. So I do hope that you also took a page from his book of life and learned a thing or two in that conversation. However, our hope was to get in touch with Morris Touch to let us know what we can look forward to on Afro Republic. I guess he is still sitting up and preparing for us. Within the next few minutes, we will be kickstarting a new day with him on Afro Republic. Nonetheless, my name is Nolo Matlaila, and this is African Diaries. I leave you with Shalom, Shalom.
When the sun goes down, we don't stop the talk. Channel Africa, the best nighttime radio. The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Our fitness coach, her name is Yvonne Dimakatso Pasha. How to remain consistent with gyms, Dima, and I'm going to put you on the spot right now. As we are talking, I will send you my picture and I want you to tell me what you think I should work on. Because, you know, when I look at myself, Dima, I think I'm very handsome. I'm so good looking, oh my goodness. Like here at Channel Africa where I work, I think I'm one of the most good looking people ever. Like sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror, I never get used to how good I look. I'm just amazing.
You're okay with the way you're looking. You wish people could and now you want to put me on the spot.
Do I need gym?
Yeah. I mean, if you can just consider eating healthy, cutting down a few foodstuffs such as junk.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege.
Matching my steez, you know I'm a G. Shawty, I'm always keep it real. I know they for too much whining, they for too much whining. I see they be, I see shy you they enter. Oh yeah, make you call a B. Oh yeah, show yourself do over sabi. Love is in the air, baby breathe in. I dey available, baby anytime you need me, I dey available. Compatible, two of us they compatible. Girl I be bad boy for girls say I dey mellow. Ah baby I dey fold, baby take it slow, baby go down low. Nobody has to know, yeah know I'm there around my man, no they should let you go. Baby, some money. You know say you matching my steez, you know I'm a G. Shawty I'm always keep it real. I know they for too much whining, they for too much whining. I see they be, I see shy you they enter. Oh yeah, make you call a B. Oh yeah, show yourself do over sabi. Love is in the air, baby breathe in. The way you move this your body now way banana. Catch me up, got me hands up, bottom. Beautiful way personality, shut up. Make I enter your life, make every city balance. As I get opportunity, why I no go mountain. Actually, I go ready, nothing come out in my hand for your matter. They see girls say bad, but you bad. Okay, your waist, put me for bellow, push it bellow. I did this, so the me know, baby, na me draw your kiss, they above the law. After you, now you become call. Oh, baby, show up, get other girl jealous, but you are working, matching my AB color. Treat you like a mama, can't bring on honey. Baby, you're the one for me, oh. Baby, some money. You know say you matching my steez, you know I'm a G. Shawty, I'm always keep it real. I know they for too much whining, they for too much whining. I see they be, I see shy you they enter. Oh yeah, make you call a B. Oh yeah, show yourself do over sabi. Love is in the air, baby breathe in.
Every voice matters. Every moment counts. Celebrate life with Channel Africa. The African perspective. Now in your pocket.
Hey, yo, Tron.
Eti nimemlambisha ananambia chombeza, tena nikizidisha ananambia koleza, nikitaka kusitisha ananambia ongeza, japo imethibitishwa ila itampoteza. Ikipanda ni bala, ikishuka ndo hatari, asijepata madhara, akaikosa na hali, ladha yake msala, shira ya Kizanzibari, na misi mjimi wala, akitaka nampa aisukari, nampatia sugar sukari, nampatia sukari, nampatia sugar sukari, nampatia
akili ya njaa juu mjasifanyia jizi na mjazi aja juu jana vitangawizi yeah. Baba chanja chukua vyote chukua vitafune nganja chakua mwaya chakua ujibusti na karanga tuliza na kitumbua ila jihadhari na majanga we usije ukaugua mana